There's only one rich guy that I know. It's Thabo Bester.
Okay. How so?
Thabo Bester could buy everybody in the system to go out. That's been rich. Can't be achieved easily by a black person. It can be achieved by a white man.
True.
He buys everybody from the system, whether you are private, whether you are government, he buys everybody and he walks out. Without an ID, he has 7 million rand in the bank. No ID.
No ID.
That's rich. You can buy the bank. That's rich. That's very rich. That's very rich. He's the only guy that I know that could buy a bank. To say, I buy you, save my money, no ID. Not even a residential. Proof of residence, none. Correct. They will never say anything. They will say it when the thing is still hot. And they know we'll come down. We'll bury our own. We'll come down, we'll move on. Because we're good at moving on. We will move on. And we have moved on.
We've moved on for apartheid.
The Chadimas thing will come. We will make noise and then it will come. It will settle down. Black people will move on. And they will never question anything.
To their own detriment.
They will move on. We move on. We come, we burn a shop. We become irritated and then investigation goes and then we move on. We move on
without getting results.
We never are we are conditioned in such a way that results don't matter. What matters with us is noise. When we're done with noise, we're done with everything. We make noise. We look for something else that can help us to make noise. We are fighting to be relevant using noise, and we should move from that because relevance should not also be the end. It should be the beginning. We are relevant now, but what happens in the future? Yeah. Our relevance must continue to move with times. Unfortunately, my people will move on. Chadima story. Yes, I'm on X. I'm gonna read about it Tuesday. It will be the end of the story. Nobody will raise Chadima. Chadima is withdrawn. We're fine. We're satisfied. The Department of Home Affairs may not even come back with the results of the investigation. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
we move on.
Yo, and welcome to it. It's Fyrsyd Conversations, your purpose-driven podcast. I'm your host, Mzayifani Selepe. And Selepe vandaag. How are you doing, my kind sir?
I'm cool, and you?
Yeah, no, very good. I know that, we are pressed for time, and we said that we're going to arrange for another date for the recording. And we're going to honor that. I just wanted to pick your brain on something, so that we can actually just have the people interested in actually seeing the recording that we are going to have in the future. We've been having a serious debate about, people entering the country illegally, and we've had the case where there's a lady who entered a pageant. And her origins were questionable. What would you say about the whole saga?
I would say the saga talks to the challenges that we face as a country, particularly security challenges.
Okay.
It is very clear that something in our policy that deals with allowing people to come into South Africa or in our immigration laws, there's a gap that can be used. And I'm also open to say the people who are working at Home Affairs should start to be more patriotic.
Yes.
They should love their country, not to sell it for 5,000 rand. Because once you sell the identity of a person, you are selling the future of the country. They sold their identity, it is alleged, and then a child in South Africa could not be registered. His life was doomed because somebody accepted 5,000 rand. Now, selling a passport is selling the security document of the country. And it should not be punishable by 2 years imprisonment, 3 years imprisonment. People are saying this is selling the country.
Yes.
This is selling the country. And it should be dealt with in such a way that South African must be afraid to do it. They must know this is a country. Unfortunately, in South Africa, we have privatized, or let me not say privatized, we have politicized our lives more than we should. Everything lies in the hands of the politicians. I need a government that listens to people, but I also need people who talk to government. And they talk to government without fear of contradiction. We need South Africans, particularly black, to know their laws, to understand their responsibility. I'm told we have the best constitution in the country. I differ substantially so. To say if this constitution allows Santen to exist next to Alexander in a state that they are in, it's not assisting the country. And our policy framework as a country comes from the same constitution. So it will have gaps because the constitution itself has got gaps. The constitution allows us to be poor while we are in majority and allows a few to run an economy. What type of constitution does that to its own people?
Yeah.
It was produced solely to move us from an era to another one. Now, are we moving from this era of apartheid and colonization? I don't think we are. I don't even think our constitution. Let me quote a constitutional expert. Moses Kakan, Advocate Moses Kakan says, the constitution that we have is silent on issues of bread and butter. And then he says, a nice sentence, he says, in the entire constitution, there's no mention of the word apartheid. So where was it premised? There's no mention of atrocities. Those are two words that should define where we are coming and where we are going.
True.
Now it's not. Therefore, the laws that emerge out of such a constitution will have the gaps that we're having. Now, what is my take about this lady? I think in all honesty, no country can be proud of itself if it is represented by a person with questionable credentials. Unless we have lost patriotism, we have lost who we are. Should we have made noise about it? Of course, the government did not react until we made noise.
Yes.
And that's what we call activism. So we say to those people who are active, good luck. This is how the country needs to be run. People must listen to what we are saying and they must react to what we are saying. And we thank government for reacting, although it was late. You know, a minister comes.
That is the biggest problem I have with our government. It's very reactive.
Yeah. But look at this minister. He comes on news and he says, nobody has complained. Good Lord. The country is complaining. You still need somebody to write to a letter? When the country says, the whole of Twitter, not even the country, the substantial number of people that are on Twitter, remember, all our radio stations sourced our ideas.
Yes.
We were all up in arms.
True.
And the minister simply says, this person has got rights. I can't violate the rights. And that is what is sick about
Okay, what about the rights of the rest
community,
of exactly
the rights of the citizens?
Yes.
This country is sick.
To the core.
It's very sick.
No, I agree with you. Now, I just wanted to, just further the conversation on that matter, even though we see that there have been developments. Obviously, criminal activities took place. And there's also questions on whether the actual mother, whether it's the legitimate mother. It's because apparently the same lady might not be the daughter to that to the mother, to the apparent mother. So I think that there's a lot of scrutiny that needs to happen in this case. They need to further the investigations so they can find out whether there is an element of human trafficking, to a sense whereby Chidima herself doesn't even know her real mother.
And pardon me for doubting whether that is going to happen. And I take my premise from Zondo Commission. When Zondo was told that there are people who did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he said it's not my mandate to investigate them. So what is his mandate? He says it's not my mandate to investigate them. So actually, what was Zondo's mandate? To investigate an administration of Zuma or to investigate anything that links to what we call state capture? Whether those people, we like them or we don't, if they are featured in the state capture, you must go after them.
Yes.
Now here's my gist. Will that happen with this one? If an investigation ensues from Department of Home Affairs and they get a culprit, because that is the syndrome we have in the police. They get a culprit. They are no more investigating further. They say, okay, this was fraud. Chadima's mother is being charged. End of the story. Whether Chadima's mother kidnapped Chadima, they will tell you, we were not mandated to investigate that. For as long as we behave that way as a country, we will never set an example that seeks to say to foreigners, you may come fraudulently, but your coming fraudulently will take its, when you are caught, things will happen. I'm saying, now that this has happened, Chadima was the center. Are we talking about the father of Chadima?
No one is talking about him.
Yeah, we are talking about the mother.
Yeah.
Did the father know about the alleged fraud? If he knows, why is he still in South Africa? Why is he not deported? Why is he not charged? You see, when you look at this thing of Chadima, you also look at this thing of what happened to foreign nationals that are in White River.
Yes.
Nobody talks about the person who trained them. Everybody is talking about them.
Yeah.
And the whole media of South Africa, deliberately so, exclude the guy who has got a training license to train people in our country.
I mean, it's the same scenario with the building collapse that happened in George.
Exactly.
Who was the developer?
Who was the developer?
Do people know that? Is the media talking about the developer? What has happened in terms of investigations so far?
Of course.
Yeah.
We were worried that people must be retrieved. And that's how black people operate. Once you retrieve people, nobody asks about the who's arrested.
Yes.
What happened. Nobody follows the case.
Yeah.
Nobody, and that's how black people operating in a white media space behave. Because the people who died there happen to be black. And as a result, we will not investigate to the eventual outcome. And we will not even say, what other measures do we put into place? In that thing of the building, we couldn't just charge the developer. We should charge the inspectors. We should charge everybody that was there.
Yeah, there's a whole chain of
chain of people that must be charged. We must go and investigate the body in which the developer belongs to, because he belongs to a council or a body. He belongs to it. What is that body saying? What is the position of the body? Have they decided to kick out his membership? No. No.
In fact, I haven't heard any word from NHBRC about the whole thing.
Correct. They will never say anything. They will say it when the thing is still hot. And they know we'll come down. We'll bury our own. We'll come down, we'll move on. Because we're good at moving on. We will move on. And we have moved on.
We've moved on for apartheid.
The Chadima's thing will come. We will make noise and then it will come. It will settle down. Black people will move on. And they will never question anything.
To their own detriment.
They will move on. We move on. We come, we burn a shop. We become irritated and then investigation goes and then we move on. We move on.
Without getting results.
We never are we are conditioned in such a way that results don't matter. What matters with us is noise. When we're done with noise, we're done with everything. We make noise. We look for something else that can help us to make noise. We are fighting to be relevant using noise. And we should move from that, because relevance is not also should not also be the end. It should be the beginning. We are relevant now, but what happens in the future?
Yeah.
Our relevance must continue to move with times. Unfortunately, my people will move on. Chadima's story. Yes, I'm on X. I'm gonna read about it Tuesday. It will be the end of the story. Nobody will raise Chadima. Chadima is withdrawn. We're fine. We're satisfied. The Department of Home Affairs may not even come back with the results of the investigation. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
we move on.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I have an issue with as well. When South Africans are being patriotic and fighting, to say that, look, illegal immigrants come in here and they cause problems, we need them to be taken back to their home countries and so on, so that if there's any form of assistance, whether it's asylum or whatsoever, they need to come in legally. Sure. And then we need to have rules and regulations as to how they operate in terms of making a living and so forth. Sure. We need to have regulations. Sure. It's seen as xenophobic. The whole continent will call South Africans xenophobic. And when you look at it, there are no South Africans who just leave the country to go and practice businesses in foreign lands and whatnot, because the rules and the regulations in other lands are very strict to say that you cannot be a majority shareholder in any business in foreign countries. Those are actually applied, strangely so, when it comes to South Africans. But in our country, you can come in here and own your business as a foreigner and succeed in life, but when we try to fight that, they say we are being xenophobic.
Africa believes that South Africa is a nation. But South Africa is not yet a nation. We are people defined by the same borders, because you still have Alexander and Santen in the same country. So it's not yet a nation. We should develop this country towards nationhood.
Yes.
That's the first part. Once you are a nation, you set up your own rules. You do not, as I say it, all right, you do not amend the rules set up by an enemy in order to run your own country. No. You eradicate the rules. You change the fundamentals. South Africa does not need transformation, it needs a revolution. You change everything that the enemy has put. Why? Because the enemy can't be trusted. It's a pity now we live in a country where we imbibe education that is developed by our own enemies.
Yes.
And we think we are on. But that is a discussion for another day. For these people to be accommodated in these. When you give people asylum, there are realities that we must take into account. There must be, asylums must be divided into a number of things. One, are you an asylum seeker as an ex-soldier? Your asylum must be different. Are you an asylum seeker as a politician running away from possible political outcomes that you might not like? That must be done. Are you so all of these must be segmented and they must be looked at separately. When you come in and you are a soldier, we have a responsibility to put you aside and never to allow you to meet other soldiers coming from the same country, because you can organize in our country.
Yes.
And you can start a training in our country. You can bring things in our country that we don't want them to be here. So we need to separate you from an ordinary political asylum seeker who runs away because he was a politician in Zimbabwe and Mnangagwa is looking for him. So unfortunately, we are not doing that. Now we've got Somalians. Now we've got people that are in a civil war. They come to South Africa. The other day we had people from Burundi.
Yes.
Who came and fought in South Africa.
It's amazing how when the police officials are sent to deal with certain unrests that are actually instigated by foreign nationals actually have the audacity to actually fight with the men in blue.
You are raising a very important aspect. Let me take you to the fall of Mugabe.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it on TV. I marveled. Not because he fell. The way in which it was coordinated.
Yeah.
Right. Zimbabweans celebrated, and I want the Zimbabweans to hear this. They celebrated, they were hooting, but all of them were sitting in their cars, driving with their safety belts on, and celebrating like normal people who celebrate victory.
Yeah.
Same Zimbabweans, when they come to South Africa, when they celebrate, they jump on top of their cars and they are no more having safety belts. They think this is a free go country, you can do as you want.
Yeah.
It can't happen. Our country must be more serious than we are now. I read something on the news. Lesotho nationals, the government of Lesotho says, we will send our criminals to South Africa to attack it. And I'm like, I was saying to my wife, my blood is boiling. Lesotho is not even a country. It's such a small country. You send 2 planes of South Africa, they go up, they go down, there's no Lesotho.
Yeah.
But because they know we will seek to be politically correct, we will not call the ambassador of High Commissioner of Lesotho to say, account for this statement. If you can't account, pack your stuff and leave our country.
Yeah.
This Nigerian issue, why are we not calling the High Commissioner of Nigeria to say, come, explain to us. Your people come, they steal these things. Explain to us how we deal with this thing. Take these guys. We're going to sentence them. They're going to serve in our prison. And once they are out, you come.
And you fetch them.
You get a plane. And now this must also kickstart a Department of Home Affairs that says, let's check everybody's identity then.
Yeah.
We might be sitting with a rotten department. Let's check. Let's check. And once we do an audit and the audit comes out to be negative, we identify, we transport back.
When you were talking about we may be sitting with a rotten Department of Home Affairs, there's a lady on X, I'm sure you are aware of her, Patricia Mashale, the one.
Of course.
Yes. She's been actually saying that there is a woman who's a foreigner who's falsified documents and is sitting as the head of the firearm registry in SAPS.
It could be. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying, what are the possibilities?
Yeah.
What are the possibilities?
But now, if that woman is sitting in that position, let's say, for crying out loud, she was a South African, right? But isn't there supposed to be action? Because she's sitting in a very crucial position, firearms registry.
Yeah. She's giving people licenses.
Exactly. So why is it that, she's not being investigated? With immediate effect, when the information comes out, she's supposed to be investigated.
I hear Mashele says he or she, that person is not investigated. I'm not so sure. I don't have the clue of actually who that person is. Why is he not being investigated? What type of power is he wielding not to be investigated?
Because if you look at she's actually posted some of the documents on X, and her name is spelled differently, on some of the documents.
Sure.
And I mean those are red flags.
They are. Yeah. They are, and I was told Mashele. Actually, I saw in X that Mashele went to court, and then she was found not guilty because of some of the stories that she's telling.
Yes. In fact, all of them. She was cleared.
I'm worried on 2 fronts. I don't know whether Mashele, as she is, was she a member of the SAPS? If she was, then I know how they're going to react. Okay. Not the SAPS. Government would say, he's an employee that is angry.
Yeah.
They will summarize that. But when you raise issues in our government, in general terms, moving away from the SAPS, in general terms, when you raise issues, we take too long to react.
Yeah.
And thereby creating, or we react, but the reaction is clandestine. We don't react openly. We don't get criticized openly for doing things or not doing them. It takes us back to the issue that you raised. The investigation of any government employee, the Labor Relations Act says at least 90 days it should be finalized. And things must have happened. I can ask you about a number of things which make me laugh every time I think about them. Because South Africa is like that.
Yeah.
It's a country where your own government does not want to investigate itself. Let's take the Steinhoff issue. We investigated it until Jooste died.
Yeah.
What was it? What was so difficult to investigate for 15 years? VBS, people are talking, people are saying EFF, people are saying, I'm saying, why is it taking us so long? Why are we arresting them one by one?
Yeah.
Let's finish this thing. Let's get these people before court and let's get it done. Let's show the urgency that our country deserves. You know, anything that takes resources, service delivery away from our people. How does, you know, the VBS worries me. How does a central bank rescue ABSA or Bancorp and does not rescue
A VBS.
VBS when black people are sitting there?
Yeah.
How is it fair?
I mean, it goes to show that, you know, the economy belongs in the hands of certain people.
We wanted VBS to die because if it was turned into a bank and not a mutual bank, it would have swallowed
a lot of these major banks.
A lot of the major banks. So we said, so if it could be turned, because it's a matter of license, they are already operational. It's a matter of changing the license and meeting the conditions.
But now here's the thing: we know that there's people who are not for the black business and the black economy developing and so on. We know that, but why are we proactively, you know, playing a role in making sure that their goals are achieved? Because now the person who has been convicted for the VBS scandal, the one who's actually mentioning other peoples that are involved, when he became a member of the VBS bank, all he was doing was looting. They were stealing money. They were not in business. They were stealing money from people. But why are we being active in making sure that we are seeing to the end goal of our opposition, you know, succeeding? Why are we doing that as black people?
It's a deep question.
Because obviously we know they don't want us to succeed. But why is it?
Why play?
Why play
in
along?
their hands?
Exactly.
I'm going back to the same thing that said South Africa needs to be a nation, unified by purpose, unified by commonalities of taking South Africa to a different trajectory. Currently, we are not yet a nation. We are people defined by the borders. You will see. Let's take sports as a unifying aspect. Maboko Boko Place. Yeah? Ellis Park is packed to the brim. Yeah? Black and white, but mainly white. Then Bafana Place, how poor they are. They don't give us results, but they play. Even us, who are proponents of soccer, don't attend the match to bring Bafana down. For as long as we behave that way, the enemy does not have to tell us anything. He has to play both this side and this side, and he wins. And all of these things are talking to us as a nation. Us as a nation. When you look at the economic setup of South Africa, South Africa has got no economy run by government. It's run by three families.
Yeah.
Which are known. Three families.
True.
Yeah. Somebody said to me, they are four now, they include Mzayifani.
No, but isn't he, being handled as well? Because I don't think that he's...
No, let's put it as it is.
Yeah.
He's a product of the three.
Okay.
He's a stooge of the three.
All right.
Yeah, we shouldn't run around and be afraid. Okay. We should name it. But there's a difference between a white man that is rich and a black man that is rich. Let me show you the difference. Sometimes we call people who are credit worthy rich. Whites are not credit-worthy. Whites are rich.
Yeah.
When we go to Wimpy and we share the salary of one man, buys the family, they share their shares, they buy with shares. Rona we buy with salary. Because Rona we are credit-worthy.
Yes.
We can use credit card, we can buy cars, and because you can buy a car and a house and blah, blah, you appear to be rich. But majority of the blacks that we think are rich are simply credit-worthy. And the white people that are rich are actually rich. They're actually rich. And that's where we have a fundamental change that we need to put in the brain of a black person. To say, when you move from township to Doring Crane or to Santen, you're not rich. You're credit-worthy. You can buy a house on a bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not rich. You can buy a Mercedes-Benz, the biggest engine, because you can afford to be given a credit of 1.9 million rand.
Yeah.
Not that you've got 1.9 million rand cash. You know, there's only one rich guy that I know. It's Thabo Bester.
Okay. How so?
Thabo Bester could buy everybody in the system to go out. That's been rich. That's been rich. Can't be achieved easily by a black person. Can be achieved by a white man.
True.
He buys everybody from the system. Whether you are private, whether you are government, he buys everybody and he walks out. Without an ID, he has 7 million rand in the bank. No ID.
No ID.
That's rich. You can buy the bank. That's rich. That's very rich. That's very rich. He's the only guy that I know that could buy a bank. To say, I buy you, save my money, no ID. Not even a residential. Proof of residence, none. Thabo Bester walked in, saved money, and in another bank he had 43 million, and it's only Thabo Bester. And we are fully aware that he had 50 million, that most of South Africans called rich don't even have a million in the bank.
Yeah.
He had 50 million. It's there, it was followed, it was confirmed. It's there, followed, confirmed. Do we know of any other black? Oh, come to They are credit worthy. Come to cause Hashem. They are credit worthy, my brothers. They're trying their best. They're trying their best.
Not Thabo Bester.
Not Thabo Bester. Not Thabo Bester. Not Thabo Bester.
No, I think you know what he has done. It's something that should be studied. You know.
He buys a doctor.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think he proposed love to Nandipa. He bought Nandipa.
Yeah.
Literally bought to say, Nandipa, I buy you with your qualifications. Go collect cops and certify them and get insurance. He's just buying and buy the insurance company if there's a problem.
But where did he get his start from? Because obviously to have the means.
I'm not so sure, but I can testify now that he bought the system.
He did.
And you must be heavy. You can buy certain judges and certain prosecutors, but hey, he bought everybody, including the guy who drove the hash that brought the cops in the and that guy is not saying anything.
Yeah.
He bought a family whose child were reported missing. They buried the wrong guy. He bought that. Thabo Bester is heavy.
Yeah.
He's heavy. And that's what money does to people when they own it. So forget these guys. Do you know that these three families, they never go to vote during election?
But they always manipulate.
They'll buy.
Yeah.
They're ready to say, okay, who's the president? No, we don't want that guy. We buy the whole Congress of the ANC. Bought. Finish.
You know, when you're talking about that, I just want to go back to, was it the 2019 elections? Apparently, is it Cyril Ramaphosa had lost? Had lost that vote.
It's in the space.
It's in the public
and
space.
And nobody has denied.
Yeah.
He lost and somebody gave money last minute and they bought everybody. They even bought them alcohol because that's how you deal with blacks. When they are drunk, they are easy targets. Buy them, give them alcohol, say go vote. They vote. And when they come out, they say, but how did we vote? This guy.
Gee whiz.
You see, that's the problem of our politics. For Malema to be president of the EFF, he doesn't have to produce a policy document himself to say, if you elect me as a policy, as the EFF, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah? He doesn't. He gets guys with brains. They produce a document. They say, "I'll push it." It's not his document. How do you push a document that's not yours? Where you are participating, it's not yours. But if it is yours, you will die for it.
True.
So they come in. South Africa, politics in South Africa are plainly a waste of time because the outcome of the elections is predetermined. It's predetermined. If you have a problem with the way the votes are going, you buy IEC. Yeah, you simply go, you buy the IEC.
But then
the IEC announces elections that we see, this is a lie.
Yeah.
This is a lie. And then MK runs and they go to the storeroom and they do that, and then we walk away. It's done. They are in parliament now, they are fine. The elections were bought. So that's how South Africa. For us to start to turn our things around, we need people who come to parliament with no strings attached. They must come to parliament solely because they want to serve South Africans. I'm one of those people. I know people will criticize me for that, particularly members of the MK.
Yeah. I
said to the members of MK, now that you have shaken the ANC, you've taken everything, is it not time to tell the old man to go home? He must rest like any other person. He's old, he's tired, he's 82. The old man must rest, but not only him. Not only him. When we say the old man must rest, we must tell Thabo Mbeki, shut up. You had your chance, shut up. And all of them, these 80s, say, shut up, shut up. We will consult you when we need wisdom. But currently, we don't need wisdom, we will run. So shut up. Now, because we are poor, we say, we even write, ANC brings the big guns, and they produce 40%. And then we sit here, we say, hey, and the big guns were there. What guns? What did they load? Nothing. Because they all of them taken together with Cyril Ramaphosa performed at 40%. Now I'm saying to you, how many coaches did Chiefs change for not getting a trophy? Now a president comes at 40%, poor, and then we say, yeah, but who comes in his shoes? No, we'll see who comes in his shoes.
Here's a question that I want to pose. When people went to vote on the 29th, right, did they vote for their political organizations in the hope that whomever is the leader of those various organizations that comes out top will become president? Or did they vote and say, we want a GNU? Is it because they always say, no, this is what the people want. Is it what the people want?
Nobody goes, anybody at his own home who wants a father, will he vote for all fathers to come or one father?
It's one father.
Sure. Now, when we voted, we wanted certain political parties to lead. If they did not lead, they must come back to come and get a fresh mandate from the followers to say, right, we have received 40. Stop this thing that is being said by Mbalula. Because he knows he's talking to people who are never questioning. He will threaten them by dismissal. Now, when they reached 40, they should have come back as a collective to say, let's go and call council.
Yes.
In this council, National Council, let's look at the National Council and let's say, what is the diagnosis of our failure? And then they put the diagnosis. In that diagnosis, you can't miss leadership. You can't miss leadership. Take Pick and Pay and let 5 shops close under your leadership. Let's see how you succeed. They will dismiss you immediately. Why? Because leadership is everything. If a leader fails, there's a nice saying by Miles Monroe. It goes like, a group of sheep led by a lion will always defeat a group of lions if they are led by a sheep. Take that and put that analogy on the ANC. They had a sheep leading them, they perform like sheep even when they are lions. Now, the lions can't assess the ship because they failed to devour the ship when they should have. Now it's too late. The ship is now the president, and you know what is nice about the president of the country? He's no more voted by the party. He's now voted by the collective in parliament. So even if you were to dismiss him as the president of the ANC, the people in parliament may retain him. They may retain him and say, we are not interested until you recall him. If he refuses to be recalled, for him to resign, and he works nice with the opposition, they will retain him. Trust me.
So we don't have a choice as citizens?
Yeah. No, citizens. We just mark an X, and then we say to people, decide who plays midfield, front line, back line. We are not interested. We go to work.
But now tell me, because I mean, there's so much dissatisfaction. We as the citizens, we are basically on autopilot. You know,
we have been on autopilot for almost 9 years now.
Yeah.
Forget the 9 years that we were told we were on autopilot. We were not. Whites were worried about the guy that was in the driving seat of this plane. He was taking it to directions that they didn't like.
Yeah.
So they said he's autopilot. But the guy that is on autopilot, on a serious note, they are fighting. That guy is on a serious path. Yeah. He has left the plane long time ago. Long time. He's at home.
But he never was on the plane anyway, because, I mean, if you look at his history, it's very tainted.
It's not only tainted. Sometimes you've got English words that try to explain. You know, when you say windows are tainted, they are black. But tell us what level of taint is those... What is the level of this being tainted? If we can take it with percentage, we'll be sure. He's a non-starter.
He's a non-starter.
You know how he came?
How so?
Because the ANC thought, let's get a billionaire of a president, he will not steal. And then we entrusted 500 billion rand of COVID.
What happened to the money? Have they told people what they did with the money?
They charge those that are close. So you charge this one. But the real guys who stole the money will never be charged.
Yeah.
They will never be charged. Because if you charge these guys, really, there was 500 billion rand. Now we get dollars in this man's house. When we put the doors together, how do you get with those dollars? Through the security of airport. You can't. So you must have generated this money here.
Yeah.
And why are we not thinking that it is the 5 billion, is part of the 5 billion? Why are we not thinking like that as South Africans? Why are we thinking that somebody brought the money in? And these are the things that we are not talking about. Because a president can go to APSA and draw 20 million without being questioned. He's a president. Who's going to question the president? If you question him, he says, okay, you question me. Sure. Remove all the accounts of government from this bank. And then it collapses. No bank is going to do it. So you can walk at FNB and say, I'm here to withdraw 4 million. They say, for what president? Says, I'm the president of the country. I trade in Angola. I must give people change. How do you expect me to do that? And then he walks away with 4 million rand and he has it. Now that he has 4 million rand, we say, how did it arrive there? He's president. But now I'm certain that the money was never came overseas. The money was taken from South Africa, from one of these 5 billion rands or 500 billion, and then it was set aside.
There's this lady who was Isma Khashule's personal assistant.
Sure.
Right? And when that whole 255 million asbestos tender story started making headlines, she left and she went to America, and apparently she was studying there. And now she has been finally extradited, she's back. And
she landed yesterday.
And she's in police custody, if I'm not mistaken.
We are told so.
Yes.
This is South Africa. Ask Bester. We are told so.
Yes. So I just want to go back to that story of the not only the asbestos tender, but there's various other tenders that have been given to companies that are owned by there's a gentleman, his name eludes me right now.
Sodi.
So Edwin Sodi, yes. And it seems like there's a trend that he gets tenders, but he doesn't do the work.
He's not the only one.
Yeah.
But ask me if he was ever blacklisted as a service provider by government.
Certainly not, because he's still getting
Sure.
tenders.
So this blacklisting, how does it assist the country to move forward? Let's not blame Sodi. Sodi comes, he beats the tender, he gets paid before he does the work. What is the standard? What is the standard? The standard is that come with your own money, build, finish, we'll pay you. The day we receive a happy letter. How is it that he was paid? And let me show you the irony of these things. The Guptas, they said, we want a mine to give you coal. Yeah? And we are told that, okay, how much do you have? They said 500 million. The mine is 1.1 billion. And then Brian Molefe said, yes, 600 million upfront. Then everybody said, well, why are you doing? He said, no, the apartheid government gave bankrupt 1 billion. So we are just giving 600 million. That was not the problem, by the way, of Molefe. You know what is the problem of Molefe? Molefe then said, they then questioned, why are you giving this man money? Then Molefe says, there are green contracts in ESCOM. What do you mean by green contracts? Now, contracts that are on 99-year lease. You supply us coal at your own price for 99 years. Then he said, and they are owned by Van Merwe, Van Skalkveen, blah, 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 blah. They said, no krappe waardet nie heek nie. South Africans. They say, that place is not itching. Why is he now doing that? Yeah. And then they said, Molefe corrupt. And we said, what? They said, corrupt. Icon, how do you know? How do you know? Because he fixed load shedding. Yeah. Then they started to say, 600 million given to Guptas. And then we started to say, really? And then we got Bojonas. So Mobosa Jonas, how do you get offered 500 million before you are appointed? Go and ask Bojonas. Nobody's asking those questions. The media is fine with it, with the lies, because they suit a particular narrative. Now the Guptas made headlines. Now we are looking for the Guptas. And we are also looking for Duduzane Zuma. We issue a warrant of arrest. That's our country. Duduzane arrives, he says, all right, take me to court. They take him once to court, second time, case withdrawn, nobody speaks, we moved on.
Yeah,
he's there.
South Africans move on.
We moved on. He's there. Nobody's talking about his case. We took Matsela Koko, we charged him, we did whatever, case got struck off the roll, move on. The other one collapsed last week, Thursday. Another one of the Estina collapsed. Move on. Trust me. The Ace Magashule one is going to collapse.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you bring this lady, you charge her. With Magashule, you are giving them an opportunity to consult on defense. A clever person would have done what they did with Senzo Miwa's case. He would charge the 5. You leave Kelly Kumar. The defense, in defending their own, they implicate Kelly. And when you are done, you go for Kelly.
Yeah.
She's implicated by evidence under oath. Not statements, evidence under oath. She's implicated. J50, arrest Kelly. What do you plead guilty? 20 years, same as the rest. You are done. But now we extradite. She's here. Now him and Magashule are going to meet to say, what do we say? And the lawyers are going to play on our case. And then, remember, it's also left. Remember, it was postponed for the last time for the extradition.
Yes.
Now it's here. So when we arrive, you know what this lady is going to say? I have not yet formulated defense. Can I get the documents? How much do you need? How much time do you need? 2 months. It's postponed for 2 months. She comes, she says, I'm ready. The state says we are not ready. The judge says struck off the roll. And we move on. And we move on. All of these Judge Zondo's cases are going to be struck off the roll. Because the biggest mistake that we do in South Africa is we name crime, we name crime as a state capture. We don't say people were corrupt. We say it's a state capture. Now, when you say state capture, you even conclude that is a state capture. How many spheres of government makes a state? 2. Legislation, judiciary. The third component is us. Now, when you say the state is bought, you said we are bought, judiciary is bought, and executive is bought. Is it the case?
Certainly not.
So why are we saying the state was captured?
Certainly not.
So it is these things that South Africans are not talking about.
So now here's the thing. I mean, if you look at it, it's disheartening the way things are going. Criminals at the highest level are getting away with murder. You know, even criminals, just ordinary criminals. You know, you put a bullet in somebody's skull, you are arrested, you are out on bail. These people, they're working amongst us on a day-to-day basis, you know. So where are we going as a country?
The future looks bleak to the extent that the youth are comfortable. I'm going to Joburg from here.
Yes.
I do not even want to pass SS.
Oh.
I don't want to pass White's Tavern. Don't want to pass Day's Tavern, because my people will be drinking there, while white people are planning how to run the country.
Yeah.
So we need to change these things. They look small, but the future of this country is currently at taverns. Future of this country.
Yeah.
The man who must come and take over as a national commissioner is still in a tavern. And they were
going to try and protect him.
And we want to try and protect him because we are known for protecting.
Yes.
Now, that's why I'm saying our country lacks a national agenda. Because the national agenda tells you the type of leadership that you want for the national agenda. And the national agenda tells you about the time frame. As a result, it tells you the age of the leaders that must take over from us. Do we have them? Let's look through the ANC openly. What is the policy of the ANC? If Ramaphosa goes, who is likely to come in? As things stands, minus the cases that have been said. Mashatile, how old is he? 60. Can he make a 20-year plan?
No, he can't.
Sure.
He certainly can't.
If he doesn't come, Mbalula comes. Mbalula is 47. At least he can make a 10-year plan. At least a 10-year. But if we go to 20 years plan, he'll be 67. What is the retirement age in South Africa? It's 65.
65.
So he'll be gone. And so we can go on.
But I mean, if you look at it, by the time you
take
hit
Malema the same.
Yeah, by the time you hit the age of 60, you've slowed down quite drastically.
Do you know why institutions say at the age of 60 you must retire? It's because your brain cannot be rejuvenated. That is if you have used it optimally. You see, one of the challenges of black people is that if you were to choose a brain, they put a white man's brain, an Indian brain, a colored brain, and a white man's brain, and a black man's brain. I don't choose an Indian one. It's overused. Don't choose a white man. Burmaka plant is overused. Choose a black man.
Okay.
Yeah, a black man's brain operates at 30%. Educated or not, operates at 30%. Who are the guys, by the way, who says the weekend must be extended to Friday? Who are those guys? Who are those guys? It's us.
Yeah.
It's us. Who are those guys that say we must at least have a weekend? We must at least have a holiday every month. It's us. We are trying to make holidays of Mandela Day. We're trying to make holidays everywhere because South Africans don't show up, and that's our sin. We don't show up. The day we show up, just show up, at least you can get something out of you. Currently, government, South Africa in a whole, is losing 8.9 billion rand because of absenteeism. And these people who are absent are not Nigerians. They are not Somalians. They are South Africans. They are South Africans. who are absenting themselves from work. We are not saying they are not sick. But let me give you an example. The state gives me 36 days of sick leave. In a 3-year cycle, 36 days, I can be sick. They're actually saying 1 day a month for 3 years. Ne? Last year, the previous cycle, my whole sick leave was taken away because I was never off sick. And I'm 50 plus. Now, you arrive at work, if 20 plus is sick, you say 20 plus is sick, yes. You go to his home to check, maybe this guy is dying. You find, no, he's not sick. And then you see, he does not come to work. Our doctors also participate.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay, now sorry ke papalas be acute flu. Bar medical condition. Sa sala di sa torlo na le babalasi ke medical condition or ke le tla bona go pay. Now, this is where we are as a country. And those are the things. South Africa is not working. Japan was destroyed. We were never destroyed. Japan was destroyed.
I always make that example.
It was destroyed completely, utterly, finished.
Hiroshima.
And they said, where do we want to be in 20 years? They said, we need Mr. Toyota, we need Mr. Nissan, we need Mr. Samsung, we need Mr. Whatever. And those misters came. They said, as a government, we educate you. If you need to go to America, go. They went. They came back. They took Japan. In 20 years' time, it was a superpower. Yeah. What did we do?
30 years later.
30 years later, nothing. We are still struggling to get a 70-year president out of office.
I mean, if you look at the infrastructure that we came into power, we're still utilizing the same infrastructure that was designed.
That's why we need to relook. Mayor Hakena, Remore, Reskirar Party, Mayor, Akruakena is a mayor, refer developmental plan. Hasna on our next Akraneon. Askar convince our ANC has deployed me. Because we can't blame the ANC. We blame a mayor if things go wrong. So have a plan as a mayor. Then have a sort of a plan about each and every ward councillor. Give me a plan for your ward. It will force you to know the people in your ward. It will force you to say when there are spaces for work, you know the people in your ward. You can bring those people. It will tell you who are the experts in your ward so that when job comes and it needs this expert, they are readily available for your ward. It will help us to do that. It will help you to know who are the police in your ward. When crime goes out of control, you don't call the station commander. You call the police in your ward. Say, let's have a meeting. Guys, what do we do?
Yeah.
You call the teachers in your ward because your ward has got a school. It is supplying the whole of Joburg. You call the teachers, you say, teachers, I want to know, man. Absenteeism register, my teacher. Are you guys fit? Are you guys fit? The union says, we say, as the employer, I've got the right to ask this question. Are you fit to be here? Yeah, we are fit. Let's stop this. It's not assisting us. You talk to your brothers. And then you say, this school must produce the best results. What is it that we can do? How do we assist as local government? Ronald Tatabarnako, to local government. The very quick thing that we do is, Skolo is national. So what, man? So what? Intervene, talk. Let's sit down. Let's have a plan. Let's have a plan. Because that education that comes from that school is going to save the nation. And therefore, when I say leader, you need. So we don't get involved. Mapodisa don't get it. It's a national thing. It's national. It's provincial. Local. So we have all these excuses. If then having local, provincial, and national government is destroying the country, let's have two. Let's remove one. In actually, the provincial government is a post office. Let's stop that, and let's have national. Give him money directly to municipalities and say, municipalities, 1, 2, 3. And let's get people who are competent to run municipalities. Yeah. Because that's where service delivery happens. Now, we are not doing that as a country. We don't even discuss the number of provinces. Let me show you something. South Africa was run nicely with 4 provinces.
4 provinces, yes.
By a white regime. They were even able to arrest all of us. Cause us to shut up. 4 provinces. Now we've got 9. We can arrest criminals with 9. Me, I'm saying, now we've got 9 provincial commissioners of the police who are earning 1.9 million rand a year. All of them, when they account, they say, we see the crime is out of control.
What are they doing about it? Yeah, we can all see, but what are they doing about it?
We need, South Africa needs to talk and be open with these things. Be open. Here's a prison being run by private people.
Where have you heard of it?
Why in the world? Why do we take American things, cut, copy and paste in South Africa? Why? The dynamics here are different. In America, you can have a prison being run by a private person.
Company.
Not here. Not here. Because the brother of Bester, remember, in America, people are not related the way we are related. Rona, if we search well, we will find that Undlovu, my real surname is Khadebe. If we look, we will find that we are related. Now you are Thabo Bester.
Yeah.
And we are related. What do I do? What do I do? So all of these things, we need to discuss them as a country. Now, Lamola comes, he says, I'm cutting all these contracts of private people, and then we move him to foreign affairs. The guy who's new comes, he says, I want to search prisons. I leave the private sector running them. I'm searching them. The only difference is that I'm searching them. He's not saying I'm cutting, G4S must go. He's not saying that. He's not saying that. This guy of Freedom Front, he's not saying that. He's searching with the media. The same way that Lamola was searching with the media, it's just that the difference that Lamola went there once. You see, our problem with these young boys that are lazy. He goes there once, there's a search, and the following day he doesn't go. Now the white guy with a big stomach wakes up 4 o'clock, he's there. And then the media comes, they search. Have you ever seen South Africa is a joke. Have you ever seen a security establishment being searched with cameras?
No.
What are we actually saying?
No, you don't do that.
That's a security establishment. We go with cameras, we search. You show people all the corners of the prison, and then you think you are running this prison. We still need to think. We're not doing justice. Now we know how Paul Small looked inside, because they were there.
Yeah.
With a camera. They searched. I saw a guy kicking a bed and everybody else falling. And immediately they fell, it was quiet. If it was Lamola, they would say human rights. The Red Cross would come. You say Red Cross. We have people in South Africa that are incarcerated. Do you know that they are watching DSTV, and now it's 700 rand DSTV. Sometimes 1,002. But now they're watching it for free. So when you take a person to the police take him to prison. In prison, he gets 3 lunches, he gets 3 meals, watches TV, wakes up at his own time. Now we are dictated upon. Where did it go? That thing people must have hard labor.
I get this thing now. They started calling the Tronco correctional services.
So
they started calling Tronco correctional services. Now
it's hard work, not correcting.
No,
because now we're working hard.
Yes.
But why underground they're working very hard.
Very hard.
The only difference would be they do that without a salary. That would be the difference. But they're working hard. Now, working hard has never killed somebody. In actual fact, if they knew that working hard will bring them to be fit outside, they would be opting for it. Because they would be fit criminals when they come out. But currently, correctional services, who are they correcting? You can't correct, my brother. Let me be honest with you, and I'm not critical of them. I know the challenges that they're facing, but you can't correct. And then the Thabo Bester saga comes. One prisoner tells the whole world that we are not being rehabilitated. If Thabo Bester moved out of prison, went and made his life meaningful without further ado, would have forgotten about him. He didn't do that. He went, he became extravagant, he was working in the malls, he was not doing anything meaningful. Then he got arrested. Now, the question becomes, was he rehabilitated? If the answer is yes, how far? How effective is the rehabilitation process? We also know it depends on individual persons. But, hey, And I doubt whether we're being rehabilitated. Now, Grunewald is arresting members of the correctional services. The wardens, they are trial.
That's what.
Do you know that there are people who are having TVs? How do you put a TV?
In a cell.
In a cell. And then you can't deny black people that TV because you gave it to Oscar Pistorius.
Eh? Yeah. No. Anyway, just coming back to the issue, service delivery. All right. Tabayadi tender, outsourcing literally every aspect of work that can be done by the municipalities. What is your take on that?
Once you have a capitalist state, tender is capitalist move. Although it's a socialist move, but it's not. Because it creates few, you see, the tenders would be right. If you applied fairly, you got adjudicated fairly, you got to do the job fairly. But let me tell you where the tenders frustrates us as people. The same guy getting the same job, not doing the same, with poor standards, poor workmanship. That's what frustrates us. Now, even the blacks that are getting tenders agreed they don't want to empower others. Now the tenders, wittingly or unwittingly, created criminals that demand 30%.
Yes.
You can't work without 30%. But when you look at the tender itself, it says 30% must go to the community. So it is the tender that facilitates and waits for people to take the space that is open. And unfortunately, this time that space was exhausted by criminals.
But then do they understand the whole 30% issue? It's not like it just...
No, criminals are clear. They understand the 30%. What they do as criminals is that we don't want to work for it. Give it to us for free. No. They understand it clearly. Remember, a criminal is a clever guy who's not interested to work. That's a criminal. A short definition of a criminal is a clever guy who's not interested to work hard for what he has. He wants to get it for free. Yeah. And that's what they're doing. So for you, it will take about 2 to 3 years to make sure that the state has got the capacity to do these things. Let me also give you an idea of what happened in the apartheid. TPA, Transvaal Provincial Administration.
I remember that.
These routes were built like that.
Yes.
Right? By the state. What did we when we come back? We found those people there.
Yes.
All what we needed to do is to say, now that we formalize you, we call you public works. Yeah? Now, if you are public works, it's good, but then what do we mean by public works? Let's capacitate public works, not to give tenders. When we took over government, the South African Police Services as one institution had a building unit, Banebahad Police Station. Police stations on our Klerksdorp. You must look at them. Klerksdorp, Pretoria Central, they look the same.
They look the same, yes.
Exactly. They were built by
the building unit.
The building unit of the South African Police Services. We privatized them. If you look at the workmanship...
It's the same thing that you said, that you do not allow cameras in a security institution. How can you allow a private entity to come and build, yes.
You know, the most dangerous thing is now, in these tenders, we also have criminals.
True.
Who are building cells for themselves. What do you think? How are they going to toughen these cells when they are building them for themselves? How are they going to make sure that they
plan for the future?
It's a crisis.
No, you know what? It was a rather interesting conversation, and I think that we're still going to come back and interrogate some of the topics further. You know, I think that it was just an introduction to the people to say, look, they must be on the lookout. We would like to feature you quite often because there's a lot of information that you are sharing with the people. And the nice thing is that you are not shying away from speaking truth to power.
Sure.
We know that the country is filled with criminals operating at government level, at business level. We know that our government is actually formulated by people in the business sector, so that all the policies suit their narrative. So I think that having you on this platform is going to actually expose a lot of the things that are hidden.
Sure.
And they're hidden in plain sight, really. They don't really take them and hide them in a manner that people cannot investigate and interrogate them and find out the truth. Yeah. So we really appreciate the time that you've shared with us, and I hope that this will be the first of many conversations that will actually impact the country positively, because I feel that the citizens need to be well informed.
Sure. You can't have citizen activism when people don't have information.
Yes.
And that's the primary function of the media, which the media is shying away from.
Yes.
So if the mainstream media is not ready to educate, let's start the media that can educate our people. I also need to hastily say, all of the things that I'm saying is my observation. Mm-hmm. I'm not an authority on them. Mm-hmm. I'm not an expert. I'm just observing, and I'm commenting on observation. So where I'm wrong, people are open to show me that, but here you didn't have the right facts.
Yeah.
That's how I grow. But where I'm right, let's spread the word.
Let's spread
that
the
we
word.
are right. That we are right and we are talking. The most important thing that I do when I come to this platform is to engage South Africans into a conversation. We are shying away to talk. South Africans are shying away from talking.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Let's rather irritate people.
Yeah.
I normally say to my wife, I want to behave like a mosquito. I am convinced that when animals were called to respect people, mosquito missed the meeting.
So you completely missed the meeting that says do not interrupt.
Do not. You must be apolitical. I am apolitical, but I'm talking. I missed that meeting. I'm still maybe going to attend in future. But
please don't go to that meeting.
Sure.
All right, great stuff. And we would like to say thank you to La Floza Guest House, who are very instrumental in terms of bringing you fireside conversations. If you've got any events that you'd like to host, visit laflozaguesthouse.co.za or call them up, and you can find them at 186 Goede Hoop Street in Ruasiavel, Clarkstop. And we want to thank our partners, Batubastrata, NTV Productions, and Selepe. We really appreciate you having, taken time out of your busy schedule to come and spend some time with us. And please visit our podcast. It's FYRSYD Conversations, Fireside Conversations on YouTube and various social media platforms. And then if you have any subject matters that you want us to interrogate, send us a WhatsApp on 079-612-5936. That's 079-612-5936. Send us an email at info@fyrsyd.co.za. That's info@fireside.co.za. We really appreciate you guys spending time looking at our podcast, watching and learning from it. And please don't be shy. Like and subscribe to our page. Also, comment on any of the topics that we actually bring to you. So with that being said, it's Fireside Conversations. I'm Mandla Ndlovu, your host, and we thank you, Selepe. We out.